Hey everyone, welcome to today's live stream. If this is your first time on the live stream, my name is Israel, and on this channel we focus on helping you make Forex profits. That's the only thing we focus on. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing on the live stream is, again, we're going to be breaking down the Forex charts. We're going to basically giving you my personal insights, what I think the market's going to be doing, so you can basically take what I give you today and basically learn exactly more about the Forex markets. If you like what we're going to be talking about at any point during today's stream, hit the thumbs up button and consider subscribing to the channel. You should be able to see my charts right now, and you should be able to hear me properly. Everything should be running smoothly. If you can hear me, if you can see my charts, literally leave a comment in the comment section and just thumbs up. Yes, I can hear you, I can see your screen. I'm about to get into it right now. Okay, so it's really interesting when you think about some of the things we're basically going to start to break down in today's live stream. Like I said, you should be able to see my charts, and all of this stuff so far so good is probably my mindset in regards to what the markets are actually doing right now. Because yesterday we did a live stream. We went on for about an hour, basically breaking down a handful of charts, basically ascertaining what way we think the market's going to go. We did that on a live stream yesterday. The link is actually in the description box, actually, so you can watch it after this live stream. I also put a link to last weekend's live stream, so you can kind of get a feel of what we basically do on the weekend. In a nutshell, for those of you who are watching with me live for the first time, don't know what we do on the weekend, what we try to do is we try to create the habit for our students, for people learning from us like you, where on the weekend you do one of two things. One of the things we talked about on yesterday's stream was basically, was basically preparing ourselves while the market is closed so we can make rational, logical decisions and not make decisions based on just like emotion and hearsay when the market's open. So one of the things we talked about yesterday was the euro yen, as you can see right here. Okay. This is the euro yen right here. This is a 15-minute candle you can see right now. And what we basically talked about yesterday on the euro yen was how the market last week played out in a certain way. It still provided us opportunities, even though we had initially on last weekend's video planned to go short. It did provide about 2 or 3 opportunities during the week, which we unpacked in previous live streams last week. If you go back over our channel over the last 5 days, last 6-7 days of live streams, you can watch some of those live streams and basically see how it was literally breaking down this currency, etc. And it provided really good opportunities. We broke some of them down as well. There was loads of information in those live streams, so you can definitely consider watching those after today's live stream. All right, good, thanks. All right, so the fact of the matter is, we talked about yesterday, like I said, yesterday, euro yen. Yesterday we was anticipating the market moving down. Okay, now I know this is probably going to come up again because this comes up regularly in regards to just time frames and the markets, basically. So you can see a 15-minute chart that I'm in right now. Okay, the fact of the matter is, most of the analysis we do on the weekend, most of the analysis we do when the markets are do that on higher time frames. They generally ask me over the last week and a half of live streams pretty much, what time frame do you use? What's the best time frame? Okay, we've got a video about this. We released it like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. It's in the description box. Basically, the best time frames to trade. Watch it after today's live stream. Okay, this is where we do most of our like legwork. The 15-minute time frame, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever time frame, which is less than the dailies and the hourlies and 4 hours, etc. It's just basically where we're doing execution. We're trying to get a good trade with a good risk. Now, the reason I said to start the stream about so far so good is because at the end of the day, what we can basically see happening so far on the euro yen is the market is actually moving down. Okay, so if you go back to, let me show you this. Look right here, as you can see, I'll circle it. Okay, the 30th, the market opened yesterday evening, so pretty much right within this window right here. And so far so good. Price has been moving down. Now through the Asian session, okay, you may be thinking, for those of you who don't know what an Asian session, there's basically 3 different trading sessions. Okay, we've done a video about that about a week ago, funny enough as well. If you go back on our channel, it's probably one of the last videos we did, which wasn't a live stream, basically. Probably 2 videos ago, because the last video we just spent a bunch of money basically just to teach you to trade, and you can watch that on our channel as well, basically later on after. But the point is, through the Asian session, which is basically the overnight session when most people are sleeping. I was tucked in bed, right? The price continued to push back up until about 9 o'clock, as you can see here, where price now has continued on what we can see so far in regards to the current movement. So far so good. Now we can unpack a couple of things. First and foremost, we can say, okay, we anticipated the market was going to go down. I don't personally recommend anyone like be trading in this window right here. We can categorize this. For those of you who don't know what this is the market open. Okay, the market opens here in the UK at 9-10 p.m. okay, on the first day of the week, and it goes through the night. Really, for me, what I like to categorize as the first start of the trading week is today, okay, from the morning. So I generally advise people, look, go slow. There's no rush. We've got multiple days in the week to basically get an opportunity. So don't make the mistake of thinking to yourself that, okay, if I miss something in the morning, if I miss something early in the week, there's no way I can find another opportunity. So the fact of the matter is, you can look at something like this, for example, and you can say, well, could I have potentially gotten something like this? Maybe you could have, but I'd say probably most likely not. Okay, because again, I say this all the time. Whenever you're looking at the price, at the charts, you always want to be looking to the left. Now, although there is this kind of activity here previously, okay, like this and this, okay, are not correlatable in a lot of ways. So yes, we spent last week's live stream talking about looking for stuff like this on the chart. Okay, but if you look at what's happening here, this is different to what's happening here. There's a lot of tails on both sides, up and down, up and down, up and down. The tails, basically, for those of you who don't know what that is, they basically just suggest, they show us what the market was doing. So in a scenario like this, okay, right here, the market moved up and subsequently came back down and ended downwards. Okay, so it gives you, candlesticks give you more information about what the markets are actually doing. But the point is, anyway, I'd say looking at something like this, I wouldn't personally so early in the week say, okay, cool, this is an opportunity, because although we've scouted it out, the opportunity, like, we don't know for sure where the market is going to turn. Okay, maybe somewhere like here would be looking at saying, okay, cool, this is where the market opened, the market subsequently dropped all the way down, and it's bottomed out in this particular region, which isn't a surprise that we can see what price is doing currently right now as we speak in this particular region. Okay, so in both places, it's not a surprise that this price is doing this. And even just before I went live, I was saying to myself, okay, cool, something I can talk about in regards to this, which I think is really interesting, is, look, the question is, okay, cool, if price is moving down, where are the entries? Where can we potentially find an opportunity to jump on this bandwagon? Okay, because that's all we want to do. Okay, we use the higher time frames on the weekend, we use the higher time frames before we start trading, and we're just looking for which way the momentum is. If the momentum's going down, we want to jump on that momentum. Let the tide carry us, is just the statement I've kind of coined in recent years. Okay, now the fact of the matter is, entries. Let's see. And again, this is a perfect way to segue and highlight and say, this is my personal advice. Okay, this isn't financial advice. You have to seek your own financial advisor if you want to make financial decisions, etc. It's my own personal opinion. Okay. So let's see. Another thing I'll say is, obviously, this is something I generally say is, well, I'm not going to take part in any of your profits. If you make money, I'm not going to say, here, give me some. If you lose money, I'm not going to say, here, I'm shouldering that with you. Okay. Everyone handles their own wins and losses personally. So let's see in regards to what's basically happening right now. So price is bouncing in this region. Let's put a line on here. Okay. Now let's go to a higher time frame. Well, before we even do that, I said levels. Okay. Excuse me. So if price, first and foremost, excuse me, I'm going to highlight this area right here first. Okay. Where price is right now. So the reason I'm highlighting an area like this is because previously, okay, what price has done, price bounced from here previously. So yesterday, or this morning, sorry, price had been dropping and price decided to now start like moving sideways. Okay, people were profit taking. We've been big on this for the last few days. Okay, the market never moves in one direction. Even if it moves very quickly in one direction, at a certain point it's going to change and turn around because people take profits, right? So when people take profits, that provides us with an opportunity to basically get into the market. And that provides us with an opportunity as well to see what the market's going to do. So the reason I say right now that this area right here is of interest, because we don't know what's going to happen. If you don't know what's going to happen at this point in time, that leaves a question mark. This is what analysis is all about. It's not necessarily about, oh, you know what, we always know what's going to happen. We're retail traders. We trade our own money from home. We've got no specific insider information that's telling us anything either way. So from that standpoint, what if price in this particular region starts moving sideways and decides to show us a top, like, you know what, price likely isn't trying to go above a particular region? What does that do? That provides us with an opportunity potentially for me to potentially take a trade and say, you know what, maybe I'll put a stop loss just above and I'm going to be trading to lower levels, okay, for a take profit, etc. Thinking that the market is actually going to continue moving down to wherever it is. We can talk about that more in a bit more detail in a moment. But another thing we can do is, if we're not highlighting this area, what do I always say? To the left, right? And I say, okay, cool. Where has the market shown us so far that price has wanted to move down from? Now, this morning's activity, okay, 9 a.m. comes into play because we look at this and we say, okay, cool. In this particular region, move this over a little bit. I say if price decides to push back up to this particular region and doesn't break this area, then what does that do? That gives us more insights. Okay, cool. Maybe up here is a place that we can actually put a stop loss on and actually trade the forex markets, etc. Okay, get a sell position on. We can also kind of highlight these regions here. Okay. And all we'd basically do is, this doesn't guarantee anything. This doesn't guarantee we're going to take trades on this. All it guarantees is we're going to highlight the area right now and say, is it potential? Okay, that's all it is. Is this a potential area for a sell position? That's it. Okay. For those of you who don't know, if you like what my setup is here, this is TradingView. The link in the description, you can get a free trial to it if you want. There's a paid version if you want to use that. Both versions are fine. Just for the record. Okay. And this is all we do. All it is potential. All it is potential. We're looking at these opportunities saying, okay, cool. What is the market going to do in these regions? Although this area at the top would be a stronger region, the only thing about this is, which I don't really like right now, is this right here. This long tail, you see how it makes this region so much bigger than this potential region? Because in this particular region, although it came out of this movement and coming back, there's only, let me take this off. Okay, although it came here and moved back up, the tails here are pretty small. So when you look at it from that perspective, there's not as much space. Whereas here, this one tail is the whole region. Okay, so that means if we're going to get a potential trade in this area, it means there's actually more risk in this particular area. So just bear that in mind. But all it is potential. You can see right now. Okay, look what I said. Like, price isn't decided yet. If is price gonna push back? Is price gonna just continue to move sideways? And if it is, that gives us more inclination that cool, maybe price doesn't want to continue to move up before it moves down, etc. But we put these areas on. Now let's see, for example, let's go to a higher time frame here on the euro yen. Let's look at like a 1 hour view or 4 hour view and get a different view of basically what's been happening. Let me take some of these lines off. Okay. Take this one off as well. And all we're basically doing is, if you notice that these two lines, one up here and two down here, these two lines, price been fluctuating between. Okay, notice how we do this. Let me move it over for you a little bit more. The 4 hour view, going back to last week. Okay, can you see how price came into the region, and since price has been bouncing between these two regions, right? Notice all the way across. So right now, as we speak, let's move it back. Price is right bang in the middle. So price could obviously potentially go back up to this region, but price is most likely, with the long-term momentum, which is moving down, okay, is most likely to move down here. Okay, why? Because we say this all the time. Let's go to a higher time frame, even higher, so you can see this even better. So we go to the daily view and look at this. This gives you a better view of what we just talked about. Let me go higher to the weekly view. Look at all of this downwards momentum. Going back to 2018 so far, let's go to a monthly view. The reason we're doing all of this stuff because you want to see exactly what the market's been doing. Okay, going back to 12 years ago, the market's been moving down. So we want to continue, as much as possible, trading in that direction, right? Now, let's go all the way down. See something really interesting. Go to the 4 hour again. So if price is coming from the top, we talked about these potential trades last week as well, we expect price to continue to move down right here, okay, to 117. I think last week I talked about we can see price potentially going to 117, although price decided last week to push up, but it did provide these opportunities here for sell positions. Okay, but we talked about price moving up, but I said 117.50 probably even seems a bit more realistic as a cautionary tale, because at the end of the day, when you look at the higher time frames, price was bouncing off this particular region here. Even though it was back, the bottom is here, price is actually bouncing off this particular region. That's something for you to take into consideration, etc. Okay, so we're at 1, okay, and price is about 200 pips away from where we could potentially be, and that's something that it could do in one day. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if it did that. But let's basically just see. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's just watch and see what happens with price at this particular region that price is at right now. Okay, let's also, if price decides to move higher at these areas. Okay, so there's these windows. This window here is about a 20 pip window. Okay, this window here is 119.70 to about 119, or 119, about 65 actually, to about 119.85, a bit more, just under 90. So let's see what happens. Maybe, for example, this level might have actually be a bit drawn down, but if we're taking a trade here with potentially 20 pips, maybe less, based on how good our entry is, now we're talking about 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. A trade in basically is going to have to be somewhere here with a take profit. Okay, which isn't like something that is hard to do. We just saw from the morning. Price moved down from, where's that, 120.30, about 119, sorry, 118, basically 90, etc. 118 and 90, 118.80, etc. So price from that particular price can move 100 pips, 120 pips in a few hours. This was basically 2 to 3 hours, 2, 3, 4 hours, basically, overnight. It's not that hard to do, but this is our mindset. So all we're doing right now is waiting. If it moves there tonight, if it moves back there tomorrow, all we have to do is wait and see. Okay, it's just that simple. That's enough about the euro yen. All it is waiting. So look, one last thing I'll say about this. This is another lesson that we can basically glean from this. We can basically say that, look, we don't have to be waiting around for all of this stuff. All we need to do is, look, just set an alert. Okay, set an alert. We set an alert, and all that basically happens is, if price comes back to that particular region, it'll send us an email, it'll send us a text message. That's all. Okay, add an alert. Just that simple. Okay, let's see here. Okay, that's all it is. Let's go to the euro, because this is another one, 15-minute, which we talked about on the weekend as well as a potential sell, and it's good because so far so good as well. Both of these were the two main currencies we focused on in the live stream basically yesterday, about what way we think the market's going to go, and we was basically talking about both of those potentially being a sell position. Now let's go to a higher time frame to start in regards to this time frame. This is the region we highlighted as potential. Now notice yesterday. Now imagine, look, we got this based on what price had done previously, but you can see that so far the market just decided, you know what, we're not going higher anymore. So like right now, we're just going to try and drop straight away, which is fine. This is a lesson that it shows you sometimes you do. This is what analysis is for. You do analysis and you look at it and say, okay, cool. What happened? Did it do what I said? Did it not do what I said? Why didn't it do what I said? What could I have done differently? All these different kind of things. But you have to become comfortable in trading with like being wrong. The only reason you wouldn't be comfortable with being wrong is because either you're risking too much money, either way. Maybe you're trying to go for such a crazy target that you really know in your heart it's not going to pan out, or you're risking way too much money. Because of that, that's forcing you not to be relaxed. So from that standpoint, at the end of the day, what do you have to do? You just keep going, basically. So if so far the price hasn't moved, yesterday what I basically talked about, let me just borrow this. Well, actually, we take this off now. Do this. What I said yesterday was price has been trending up, right? And I was basically using all of this stuff to basically say, well, based on last week, what we were saying is how price, even if it goes against you, when a long-term momentum, what I mean by that is, even if price goes against what you think the market is going to do, with the long-term momentum in your favor, price can still give you trade opportunities. So I was just saying that to say, look, if price basically comes into this region, because price is basically trending up in regards to the retrace, I was basically saying, look, if price moves down and comes into this region, this would be around the same kind of area where it might be potentially likely for a trade to actually potentially pan out. Okay, entry up there, potential stop loss above, and you'd be trying to trade down, okay, to these kind of areas. And we broke down a potential risk to reward setup on yesterday's live stream. It's in the description box for you to watch after. But price said, you know what, no, like we're moving down right now. Now price is, as you can see, just from it doesn't even need to be a perfect trend line. Price is around that kind of area right now. So all it's about is doing is waiting. But it's a good sign anyway, in a lot of ways, that price has actually moved down already. Now it's just about continuing to see what basically happens on this time frame, on these different time frames, as we go down to lower time frames, and we're watching the price action in real time. So for example, this is a 15-minute view. Look at what's happened since the market opened. Look at this. Okay. Price has been trending down. Okay. do this. Change this to black. Okay, price has been trending down. And you can notice, you can see that the last drop in price, this part here, let me show you, or let me highlight it. The last drop in price from here has actually been even steeper. Why? Because you can see that when you're drawing these lines here, they all line up. Then all of a sudden, price just decided to drop a lot quicker. And I would expect, to be honest, although what price is doing right now does provide a potential opportunity, excuse me, considering price has been moving sideways, okay, relative to the previous drop. But I'd be surprised, not if price necessarily dropped, I could see price dropping, but what did I just say? Price has moved down steeply. When price moves steeply, we mentioned this earlier in today's live stream, we mentioned this in previous live streams, we mentioned it yesterday, we mentioned it last week. When price moves steeply, you have to expect at some point price to actually move back to these kind of areas. Okay, so from that standpoint, let's see what happens. Because bear in mind, we've got this week's worth of trading activity where price is actually trending up. This is what the green line is basically symbolizing. But then at the same time, we've got the overall movement that's down, right? But then we've also got this loose trend line here, this black trend line here that's been moving down, but it's actually separated from it. Now, all of this stuff isn't like a guarantee. It's not like these things have to obey this trend line or it has to obey this trend line. A lot of the times, these are just what we call self-fulfilling prophecies. So many people are looking at this and saying, oh, look, there's a trend line. There's a trend line. It has to stick to it. And because so many people know that, look, this is what people are looking at. Like a lot of people try and make it a reality. But understand, like, this is an opportunity. This is what I'd call a high risk, low risk opportunity. That's an oxymoron, Israel. What does that mean? What I mean by that is, it's high risk because of the placement, okay? Because where it's placed. This is high risk, but it's also a low risk because I wouldn't advise you anyway, or no matter what trade you're taking, and no matter where you're taking the trade from, to have a huge percentage of risk on the table. So even if you had a trade with a stop loss up here, even if this was 200 pips away, for example, I'd still expect you to incorporate 2% or less into that 200 pips. But the point I'm making is, it's high risk because of the place where it is on the chart. It's low risk because of 2%, right, or less. But also because the overall momentum is down. So this is what makes it low risk. You've got the long-term momentum with you, and you're going to be risking small amounts of money. Okay? But the point I'm saying is, it's high risk because price has sold off very steeply. If price, let's do this. If price was in this region, or if price was in this region, even if price stayed in this region, maybe that's too far. Even if price stayed in this region for a couple of hours, any of these three scenarios, 1, 2, or 3, make this opportunity less risky because there's more data showing us that price is trying not to go higher. The reason being is because, where's this? Where's the profit taking? Where is it? You're telling me that the market is actually moving down steeply like this, and no one wants to take profits? That doesn't sound about right, does it? You would expect, especially on a steep move, people to take profits. So you can see right now, I'm not surprised this is happening right now. on the USD. And this is why I say it's a high risk, low risk trade, because anyone could take a trade like this based on all of the stuff I'm talking about today, and basically just say, well, it was short, like the market's moving down. It's in an area where prices kind of consolidated and giving me an opportunity to trade. But then at the same time, those are two things that are in your favor. But then at the same time, it's like, look how like much selling is in the market right now. So from that standpoint, let's just be careful. Let's be cautious. It's only the first day of, it's only the first real full 24 hours of the trading week. So there's nothing to worry about. Another thing you have to think about in regards to the Euro USD is, it's not a guarantee that the market's going to move down for the whole week. Okay. This is another reason why you want to be more patient with this, because at the end of the day, the market can start. Okay, from the 30th. Let me show you. The market can start from the 30th. Okay. The market can start like this, and then so easily just turn around and start moving up. It's why it's about being cautious. I know everyone, especially in a time like this, people are interested in making more money and all these kind of things. They're trying to acquire more money. Don't just put yourself in a position where you're messing up your money. We've recently been talking about, look, a smart way to get some good money for those of you in America. There's a link in the description box and in the comment section. You can basically get 2 free stocks valued at $1,400. All you have to do is deposit $1 in your account. And what you can literally do is you can literally sell the stock straight away for a profit. So let's say, for example, you open this account, you deposit $1, and the stocks they give you, the free stocks are $5, and let's say, for example, $10. You can literally sell those stocks and get $14 profit, etc., and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, if you're in America, there's a link in the description box for you to do that and get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400. But the point anyway is, look at what's happening here. Okay, this is 15 minutes. Let's go down and even see. This is something you can do as well. Okay, we talked about this last week, but this is powerful here, right? So look, let's do this. Let me show it to you in this way so you understand exactly what's going on. Back to the let's go to the 15 minutes, right? What we've been looking at. So look at all this. Look at all this, right? What's going on? Is it moving down? Is it moving up, etc.? Let me show you this. Excuse me. So let me show you. Let's highlight it. So when we go lower, you can see exactly what's actually happening here, right? Let's go to a lower time frame now, yeah? And let's see. This is the same area. The reason I highlighted it so you could know this is exactly the same area. But look at what's happening. You'll get even more detail about what's happening here. And this can paint a different picture from what you can see. So for example, firstly, we've got a lot of sideways action right here. Then we see the price bottomed here. Price 1, 2, 3 times. It's even more, to be honest, but because each time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, try to top out. And this is the thing that I need to make you aware of. Okay, look, some people will be jumping on sales here, right? This is the entry, but look what happens. Price moves back up. Then we get 1, 2, 3 tops again. So now people are going to say, okay, cool, now's the time to sell. Now, what's happening right now? Surprise, surprise. Price is here. So what? All of these people that may have sold here would have been stopped out. Then they try and sell the second time and they get stopped out right now as we speak. But notice this. Price bottomed out here once, right? Let me take this off and show you again. Price bottomed out here, right? Then price bottomed out here second time. Now price bottomed out here, it seems the third time. Notice how each time the low is getting higher, right? You're getting higher lows, as they say, when you're talking about a trending market. Higher lows, higher highs. So this is what's happening in the minutia of the details in the time frames. Some people won't ever go down to these lower time frames. The reason I go down to some of these lower time frames because we see this stuff in real time, what's actually happening. Not to necessarily just, you're not going to find me all day looking at a 2 minute, 3 minute chart saying, okay, cool, let's make trade decisions. No, I'll start with higher time frames, look at all those kind of things. Then we'll come down here for execution. What's the market doing? Where's the top? Where can I put my stop loss? Where's a good place to get an entry? All these kind of things. But notice, in these lower time frames, price is showing us that, look, price isn't ready to move down. We can see this clearly here, that price is putting in higher lows. But when we're in a higher time frame, on the 15 minute, what was my analysis saying? My analysis was saying, I think this market has sold off quite steeply. And for me, I want to be looking for a sell position somewhere around here, even somewhere around here, a couple of hours later, okay? If price tops out at this whole place. But the point is, right now, what's the time? It's 30 minutes, 40 minutes past 3 here in the UK. So it's just after 10:30 in America, US Eastern Standard Time, right? So these are things you have to think about when it comes to trading. Don't just be hasty. Does this make sense? Let's go down again to a lower time frame and see. Like, the thing you have to notice about trading, right, is like, let's say for example, like this candle right here that we talked about, this candle, okay, that pushed up and ended up moving down. But let's say for example, price drops down now. That doesn't change the fact that this candle that we arrowed right here stopped someone out. Okay, someone got stopped out there. These set of candles here, more so specifically, this specific candle, which was the first one, what did that do? That most likely stopped some people out, because some people were here looking at this saying, look, this is the opportunity. But this is how you have to put all of the time frames together. You don't just take a 3 minute or a 2 minute, okay, you add it on with a 15 minute, you add it on with a 1 hour, you add it on with a 4 hour, okay? You add all of these together, you add a daily, you combine all of these together, and then you make a decision, okay? Let me even show you this as well. This is another thing that will actually be quite beneficial for you. Let's take all of this off. Remember, we're looking at a lower time frame here, right? I want you to think about risk. So just consider this. We talked about this on yesterday's live stream about entries, right? How important entries are. Excuse me. I want you to see something. So right now, since based on what price has done, excuse me. Okay. If we go based on the previous high, which we just talked about, which was this candle right here, right? This is the high so far. And we look at where price is right now. Let me send this to the back. Okay. Where price basically is right now, right? A bit higher. Look at this. This is 16 pips. Okay. Let me show you this. This whole range right now is about 28 pips. Okay, the whole range is 28 pips. If I was, let's say for example, if I was going to take this trade, okay, 30 pips. Let's say for example, price went all the way to the bottom, and I tried to sell here. Now all of a sudden, take this all off. What would we need? I'd need 90 pips, right? That was not what I wanted to do. All right, do this. Game system malfunction. All right, let me do this again. Look, I said 35. I said about 28 pips, right? For this whole window. Now we go to higher time frames. If it's about 28 pips, right? We'd need 90. Just zoom in. Notice, look, how far we're going. That is down here. Okay. This is why entry is important, because we don't want to have to be waiting this long for a potential trade. Let's go back down again. Or before I do that, let's do this. We move this up even more. We don't want to be waiting that long. We want to base our decision based on what's happening here at the top. Now, in a lot of ways, this is counterintuitive. I'll just be honest with you. I remember when I first started teaching this years ago, I remember certain times I'd take trades, I'd actually be like fearful. Like I'd see the price pushing into these regions. I've done all the analysis like I've kind of explained now. And it's like, it'd be hard. I'd be saying to myself, look, I'm going to sell, but price is pushing up. Like it's counterintuitive. How are you selling when price is pushing up into the region? This is why the analysis beforehand is important, because you can literally scare yourself out of these opportunities. Okay. But you have to be comfortable in your analysis. As you get better and better with your analysis, as you get more confident, as you start drawing these things up and more of them come to pass, you'll become more comfortable. But when you start putting your own money, like real life money that you've actually worked hard for, on the line, that's when it becomes even more paramount. Okay. Now, let's look at this. Let's go back down lower again, because it's good. I really appreciate when stuff like this happens in real time, because it gives us ample learning lessons about what's actually happening. So on the 3-minute chart again right now, okay, and we're looking at what price is doing. Let me move this all the way over. And we're basically just looking. Zoom out more. Okay. What's price going to do? So notice this. Why is this so important? Why is patience so important? And we did a video about this as well. It's in the description box. 2 benefits I have as a Christian that help me with trading. One of those is the lesson I'm kind of talking about right now. Okay. Is because we've just outlined already one potential trade where people would have got stopped out. Okay. Or sorry, one potential trade where people would have got stopped out. Now we're talking about 2 potential trades. All this is patience. That's what it is. You saying, okay, price has bottomed out. We don't know for sure if this is the bottom, but price has bottomed out And I mentioned this in last week's live stream. I can't remember which one it was, but I was talking about, look, when there's it must have been the last day of the week, if I remember correctly, because I was talking about when price moves down very quickly, what you want to see is, I think it was last week, the last session. I was basically saying, because it was Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister in the UK, came out with his announcement at 11 a.m. in the morning, and price shot down. But look what happened next. Price started moving up. So I'm saying, look, when price is moving down quickly or price is moving up quickly, you want to start to see some of the opposing candles. Okay, you want to start seeing some of the opposing candles, because it suggests to you and says to you, look, okay, people are profit taking, right? So this potentially now, in real time, at the time, becomes the bottom. And we say, okay, cool. We've got a couple of green candles now. What's happening next? And as price starts to do what it's going to do, you want to be patient. You want to say, because this wasn't basically based on news. This is just the price action. The market players moving the market, how they're going to move it. So we have to wait and say, okay, cool. Take into consideration all of the analysis we've done. But in a position like this where price is so sold off, this is a powerful lesson. Price can push back to these regions and people can be profit taking. What they can also do is price can move sideways, right? And they can just be getting rid of their positions in this window, luring people in to take the opposite side. Okay, we think the market is moving down. They just start buying back all of the stuff they've sold in this particular region, because there's a lot of people that are trying to jump on a sell. But all we do is we just push it up quickly, more people are going to sell. Push it up quickly, more people are going to sell. They're basically exiting their position. So there's two ways you can basically close out of a trade. You can basically do it like this and just literally go all the way back because there's no one to basically cover your positions. Or you can basically just move the market sideways and let people continue to jump in and you just close out your positions in that way, etc. Okay, but look at price right now again. This is good. What's happening? So we've got price testing this region again. But look right now. So far, this area here was the last region, right? The last higher low. We had this low, we had this low, now I've got this low. And so far, even though price is trying to test this area again, price is basically moving down. Price is still basically trying to protect itself from it. So these are things you focus on in real time. And don't be fooled. There's people selling here. As this is happening, there's people selling. And the crazy thing about this is, look at the entry. It'd be better if you were going to sell here, to sell here. Because this is where all the sideways price action is. And look at this, all of this now is no more risk. Stop loss is going to be above this area regardless, right? Because this is where we've seen price topped out. So logically, based on technicals, that's what makes sense. But if you know where your stop loss is going to be, now all we have to worry about is the entry. And this entry right here, which is at 110.25 opposed to 110.20, is different. Like pips matter. Okay, look at this right here, right? 1 to 2 pips matters. 1 to 2 pips makes a difference. 1 to 2 pips on your entry could be potential difference between getting stopped out or not. And even though we don't know what's going to happen in the future, a situation like this right now gives us an ample example. Because until this continues to breaks up further, someone may have been stopped out here. Easy. But notice, right? Tested it and it's pushing forward. Okay, people talk about market manipulation all the time. Like, I don't like to talk about that too often, but I don't believe in coincidence. So the more and more evidence you get that shows you something is happening, the more and more like you have to take it seriously, right? Because at the end of the day, the things we're talking about right now, Like this stuff is happening in real time. Like people are selling in these positions, putting their stop losses in these positions. You've got one big red candle, and you've got the second candle, and I can tell you right now, there's people that sold right here. There's people that sold there. Let me do this. Give me a second. Give me a second, guys. All right, there's people that sold in that particular region, and they're basically feeling the pressure right now. I'll show you why in a second. Okay. Let me show you this. Let me take all of this stuff off. So look what's happening. So you've got people that are selling right here because they're excited. You know what? Yeah, the market's moving down. And what happens immediately? Not it's like after the fact. What happens immediately? Price shoots back to the top. So imagine if your stop loss isn't even in a smart position, technically wise. You probably get stopped out here. But then you say, okay, you know what? Maybe I got it wrong. The market's moving up. So then what happens? The price was just down here again. Look at it right now. It's jumping all over the place. So maybe you get stopped out again. Can you see how this is how just people get caught up in a cycle of bad trading because they take one bad trade that they shouldn't have taken, and then it just continues and it spirals and it just continues going. This is why being patient is powerful. I'll give you a good lesson right now, which I think is powerful. More traders need to understand this. The most important money that you have is the money that's in your trading account. It's not the money that is out there in the market. Okay. Imagine this. Let me give you an example. If you make no money today from trading, if you make money, there's no money this whole week from trading, what does that change? Does that stop you from trading the next week? No, it doesn't. If you lose money in your trading account today, if you lose money in your trading account this week, does that stop you from trading? Maybe it might not stop you today, or maybe it might not stop. Maybe it might not stop you tomorrow. Maybe it might not stop you tomorrow. Maybe it might not stop you in a week's time, like 2 weeks time, in 3 weeks time. If you keep doing that, there's gonna be a point in time when you're gonna be hitting this. Okay, and when that happens, there's no more trading. This is why you need to understand the money in your trading account is the most important. Okay, so let's see. So far right now, what's price done again? This is happening in real time. Look, dropped a little bit lower. The body of the candle right now has pushed back up immediately. Okay, so there's people that were just selling right there. But look at what price is doing right now. Price shot back up. The thing I want you to realize right now about what I'm saying is, this can be a very emotional game. This is why you may be thinking, Israel, why are you always talking about logical decisions and emotional decisions opposed to emotional decisions? Because I've been in this for 10 plus years. Okay, and I understand very well. Okay, I've got thousands of pounds thrown into the market to give me an education. At the same time, in a lot of ways, like needlessly lost. Why? Because I've played this emotional roller coaster game with the markets before. Is it a surprise? Look at what the candle is literally doing right now. People sold here. I need you to understand that. People were just selling in this region right here. Newbies were just selling in this particular region right here. And look at what price is doing. Are you telling me that there aren't people that are luring people into making these decisions? This happens every single day. And even if it pans out, think about the emotional turmoil you're going through. Let's say, let's say you take a sell position right here, or you take a sell position right here, right? And then immediately, like I just said, price pushes up, like I just talked about a moment ago. Like, what's your heart going to be doing? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, what's going on? I thought the market was going down, now the market's going up. Like, what's happening? Let's say you don't get stopped out, and then price does what it just did. Okay, cool. So you're not, okay, you start to breathe again. Okay, cool, you know what? It went a little bit lower, right? Okay, oh, okay, cool. Now it's going to drop. So what did price do next? It shot back up. You're breathing heavy again. Like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, I thought it was actually going down. Like, no. This is the thing you need to understand about the emotion side of trading. Some people are going to tune out at this point. This is the stuff that's going to make you money. Focusing on what I'm talking about right now, because these are the things that affect you. Now look at this candle. It's like it will move so quickly a lot of the time when you want to get into the market if you're doing this the wrong way. But after you get in the market, why does it seem like things just gradually start moving a lot of the time? That's because in a lot of ways, the concept you need to understand about trading that will help you drastically, will help you tremendously, is there is someone on the opposite side of every trade. Okay. And the reason this is powerful is because you need to understand, if you're in a trade, I was going to point to me, but I don't want to profess that over myself. If someone else is in a trade, I'll just put it like that. There's someone on the opposite side of that trade. So if someone takes a trade and they lose money, that means someone was on the other side of that trade winning money. So the question you have to ask yourself is, and you can ask yourself this every single time you open a trade, who is on the other side of my sell position in this particular region? Does it look like it's an amateur that would be trying to buy into this region where I'm trying to sell? Or is it most likely someone different, I'll just leave it like that, who would gladly buy from me in this position? These are the questions you have to ask yourself, because as you ask yourself these questions more and more, you start to realize that, okay, so the person that's buying in this particular region right here, as I'm selling, probably knows something that I don't. Now let's flip this, okay? The person that's selling up here, when someone is trying to buy, who's likely to buy when price is more expensive? Retail people, right? Think about this analogy. We do this every single, well, let me not say that again, I don't want to profess that of myself. Many people today do this all the time. They go to a supermarket, literally. The last video we published last week talks about this. Go and watch it after the live stream. I spent over $100 to show you this concept, to show you how to trade the Forex markets. People go to a supermarket, right? And the supermarket has bought their stuff in bulk from their supplier. And you buy it at retail price. But does the supermarket buy at retail price? No, they buy at wholesale price, right? What should you do? Where it makes sense, you should go and buy at wholesale price. There's certain things that it doesn't make sense, so just don't do it. Certain things do make sense. So when someone's selling in this particular region, who do you think is going to be trying to buy? Most likely when price is more expensive, that's when the retail traders are going to buy. So as this is happening, people are like, look, all they can think about is this candle right here. That's the only thing they're thinking about. This one candle right here. This one candle right here. They're saying, okay, cool, price is shooting up. That's the only thing they're thinking about. They're not thinking about all of the analysis we've done here. We're not thinking about all of the analysis we've done on the higher time frames. They're not thinking about any of that. Why? Because they're not thinking logically, they're thinking emotionally. As the price does all of this stuff, yeah, you know what, I'm going to buy here now. Instead of buying down here when we ascertain, look, based on this time frame, price is bottomed out, sorry, and price is putting in higher lows. So if we're actually going to buy, this would actually be the most sensible place to buy from. But there's amateurs that are selling here because all they can see is the last candle, the last red candle that seems to be moving down. If you're going to sell up here. Why? We talked about this on yesterday's stream. We've been talking about this for days and days and days, over and over again. Look at the risk. Let's say a stop loss is here, right? And there's an amateur trading here. All of this is now risk. This is all risk. Look at the bodies of the candles. For those of you who don't know what the bodies are, take the tails that are on the top side or on the bottom side out of this. Okay. Look at the bodies. Where are all the bodies? The bodies are here, right? Now all of this is less risk. Now we're closer, our entry is closer to the stop loss. Okay. This all now becomes more profit potential. All of this stuff is in the details, guys and girls. And these are the things you have to understand. But I say all this to say, look, people know that there's buyers and there's sellers. So the people that are moving the market around like this, that have the power, the liquidity, the money, capital to move the market like this, they understand this and they know, look, in order for me to sell what I want to sell, I need someone to get on the opposite side. I need someone to buy it where I'm going to sell. This is why the market will do stuff like this, where it looks like, you know what, it's ready to go at these lower levels, because they know there's people that are going to be suckers. They're going to get sucked into it and basically take these opportunities. If you take a sell position up here, how many sell positions do you need to take before you realize on a balance of probabilities if this is going to go in your way? One. Because if you take a sell position up here in this particular region and you get stopped out here, you know, okay, cool. Most likely price is going to try and bounce back to a higher level. If I take a sell position down here, what can I say to myself? I can say, you know what, I got a bad entry. I need to take another trade. And then you take another trade, and then now that one could pan out. That one might not pan out. And you think about it like this. I could talk about this over and over again. I could just continue to look at this chart over and over again, but let me talk about something else. So look at the euro yen right now. Okay, we're not going to talk about this again because we've talked about it already, but just look at what's happening, right? This is the euro. We'll come back to it. Let's look at another currency. I'll talk about the pound against the dollar briefly and the Aussie dollar. These were two currencies I said yesterday, you know what, I'm waiting. And it's not a surprise. This is the 4-hour view. What price has basically been doing for the last couple of hours. This is the Aussie dollar. Excuse me. And notice the last 4 hours, what's price been doing? Sideways action. Fine. I won't give it as much time so far. And I didn't plan to do it anyway. What's the pound against the dollar been doing? Same kind of thing. Just gradually trying to move down. Not a lot of activity. Okay, fine. We'll leave it. The USD JPY was another. I didn't talk about this yesterday, but price topped out in this region last week and then subsequently just been moving down. We're looking for potential areas where price is going to bottom. We've talked about potential areas as price has been dropping. Where's price basically going to try and continue this upwards momentum? We don't know. Let's wait and see. Okay. But generally, because this is a big level that we drew on here, starting to take sales positions isn't the furthest thing from what we can potentially do, because we do these levels in advance and say, okay, where's price potentially going to go to? Where can it get to quite comfortably without any previous momentum against it? If price bounces off these regions, these are the kind of areas where price can actually come into, go sideways, or just come straight down. Okay, it can go sideways and drop, or it can just come straight down. And this is what's happening so far. So price, this could be a reversal. It could be the beginnings of the reversal. But starting to find sell positions on the USD JPY isn't um, the most far-fetched thing. Okay, but look at two candles. Both of them are pushing up. Euro is getting weaker as the day goes on. And it's just about waiting to see what's basically going to happen in these two potential scenarios. Notice though, before we even went down to these lower time frames, I was saying, look, these higher levels. Let's see the higher levels. Delete this now because I don't need it anymore. The lesson has basically been completed. But look, we want to see price bounce up. Now, again, I mentioned this as well. What if price isn't ready to move down? Because at the end of the day, when you think about a trending market, the basic stereotypical laws is, look, the previous swing has to be taken out. So this market's been moving up gradually, right? We want to see this area break. Okay. 109.50. This is what people are going to say. They need to see this break before they want to trade down. What we're doing is we're preempting the market. We're trying to say, okay, cool. The market's been moving up. Sorry, the market's been moving down long term. So we're looking for an area to see where price is actually going to reverse and be ahead of the market, shape or form. Yeah. So just bear that in mind. We don't know for sure what's going to happen, but we want to be prepared in all scenarios. But look, this is a couple of 15-minute candles, and we talked about this candle right here last week. Don't be surprised when you start seeing certain candles that you're supposed to be looking for in certain areas, because they know certain traders have gone on certain websites, certain beginner websites, and did a little basic course and think they know everything about trading. They think they know enough about trading. They'll come and see certain things and then just get obliterated by the market. So just bear that in mind. One thing I'll say again actually about this is, so you may say, how long is enough? Okay, what do you mean by that? Well, how long is enough? So price hit here about one, let's just say between 1 and 2. Okay, price came to this area. And at about 2 o'clock, price hit the bottom, right? That's about 9 a.m. in America. And since then, price has been trying to put in higher lows, yeah? So how long, at what point do we say a sell position, if price stays within these areas, becomes more apparent? Hour, 2 hours, it depends what the price does. So if price decides to stay in this region and it's just moving sideways, a tip I can give you is think about the sessions. You have to understand, as the different trading sessions close and finish, there's orders, there's trades that people have sent into their brokers previously that they need to execute. This is why sometimes when a session starts, you may see like a huge uptick, or you might see a huge downtick. That's in a lot of ways, they say, because a lot of the orders are being fulfilled, and there's orders to buy at a certain price, or there's orders to buy at a specific lower price, whatever it is. And because of that, the market will start moving quite rapidly, okay, and stuff like that. But there's a lot of gems here that I've given you in the stream so far. So I just wait. That's all. Like, don't be afraid to wait. What is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you miss a trade. That means your money is protected. Yes, you may have not been on a trade and you may have potentially made money, but remember, your money in your trading account, practice account or live account, is the most important. Okay? But the best thing to do is to protect that money and then wait it out. So all you do is you do this. Let me put a line on here. And as price continues to stay in this region, I just want to see what's going to happen. That's it. Okay. Let's just see. Some of you may jump in already. That's fine. If you want to jump in, we'll stop loss above. I could see why you might do that. But just bear in mind, don't do what I just showed you earlier on. Don't be saying, I want to go short, I want to go short, I want to sell, but then waiting until the last minute. You're going to do this, have confidence in your analysis and say, look, I'm going to sell where the price action is. I'm selling in the price action. I'm not selling when prices just dropped. Okay. But just notice 1, 2, 3. Okay. Price is bound to move up. So far, these two currencies, the euro yen, have both basically been doing what we expected. But that's a good place to basically wrap up today's stream. And thank everyone for tuning into today's stream. I hope it's actually been beneficial. If you like what we've talked about on today's stream, seriously, hit the thumbs up button. Okay, let me know that this is actually something that you enjoyed. This is actually something that was good, because I know a lot of the things we talked about today can actually help you in a lot of ways. So definitely look out for this next stream tomorrow, God willing, and I'll hopefully come back and help you break down the markets, hopefully help you make profits, and most importantly as well, protect the money that you have in your trading account as well. So on that note, thanks for tuning in, thanks and take care, and I'll see you on the next live stream. God willing.